Hi, I'm Tim and thanks for watching, and welcome to part 7 of my Home Assistant series for 2026. In this part 7 we're going to be adding this, which is the UGREEN NAS statistics for CPU, memory, disk storage space and so on, and we're going to be adding that into Home Assistant. So let's get to it and I'll show you what to do. So here we are at the computer, and the first tab here in an internet browser, I've logged in to the UGREEN NAS that we are wanting to put into Home Assistant. And then in the second tab, I've logged into Home Assistant, of course, as you can see. So what we first need to do is in the NAS, so the UGREEN NAS, we need to go and create a user account. So to do this, you go to Control Panel, select User Management, and then select the Add button, and then select Create. Now in the username, so you need to create an admin user, by the way, for this. So we'll call this username HA, as in Home Assistant. Now for the password, you need to make sure that you have a lowercase character, an uppercase character, and numericals. So for example, HA with a capital A and then 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. Now you cannot use special characters in the password, so just make sure that you do not use special characters. It must be an uppercase character, a lowercase character, and some numbers in there. So let's type in a password and confirm the password. And then what we need to do is, for the role, we need to make that an administrator. So it must also be an administrator to allow you to connect your NAS into Home Assistant. You cannot have a standard user. So make sure that you select administrator as the role, and then all you need to do is click next, and then you'll see we get the action permission for the read and write options for each of the folders. So just click done. Now one also thing to remember is that you cannot use two-factor authentication with the user that we've created. So you cannot use two-factor authentication. That must be disabled, otherwise it will not work. So now that we've created the user HA, we can log out of our UGREEN NAS and then close that browser tab. And then in the Home Assistant tab, what we need to do is to install the UGREEN integration is to go to HACS at the left hand side here. Now if you haven't already got HACS installed, please see part 2 of my Home Assistant series where I show you how to install the HACS integration and repository into Home Assistant. So you'll need that first. So if you haven't already got that, please see part 2. But if you have, then let's proceed further. So at the top, we're going to type in UGREEN, and you'll see we get the UGREEN NAS integration. So click on it, and then in the bottom right corner, we need to click download. And then with the pop-up that appears, UGREEN NAS integration, just click download, and it will download the latest version. And it takes just a few seconds, of course, depending on how fast your internet speed is. So now that we've done that, you'll see we get settings and we've got a orange 1 notification. So we need to click on settings, and you'll see we get 1 repair message, restart required. So you will need to restart Home Assistant. So click on restart required and then select submit with the pop-up window. The issue is repaired, so click finish, and then wait for Home Assistant to restart. As you can see, it's connection lost, reconnecting. Home Assistant has now started. So now that we've done that, we need to go to settings and then select devices and services. And then in the bottom right corner, select add integration. Then in the setup new integration and in the search box, type in UGREEN and select UGREEN NAS. Then in the enter the connection details, what we need to do is type in the IP address of your Home Assistant box. Now it says here you can type in either the IP address or host name. Now when I did it, it didn't work with the host name. So for example, I tried typing in NAS2, which is the name of my NAS on the network, and it would not work. So I had to type in the exact IP address for the UGREEN NAS. Now, if you don't know the IP address, log into your NAS again and then go to Control Panel, About, and then you'll see under the network option, we've got the IP address. So it's, in this case, it's 192.168.5.20. Now, your IP address will likely be different. So just make a note of the IP address, then log out of your UGREEN NAS again, and then go back to the Home Assistant tab with the Setup UGREEN NAS and type in the IP address. Then in the port number, we need to change that to 9443. So you should have 9443 as the port number as shown here. Then in the username, so the admin username box, we'll type in the admin username of that account that we've just created on the NAS. So it was HA, if you recall, and they will type in the password. And then in the unique device name, you can change this, or you can leave it to UGREEN NAS, which is default, or you can name it the actual name of your NAS. So for example, mine is called NAS2. Once you've typed in that, what you need to do is tick the box for use HTTPS. So once you've ticked the box, you can then click submit, and you should get a devices created pop-up box here. So if you want to allocate it to an area, so each of these fields that it's detected, you can allocate them to a specific room by clicking in the area box and selecting the room, for example. But in my case, I'll just click skip and finish. Then you'll be taken into the UGREEN NAS integration, where you'll see we've got NAS2, and then we've got storage pool 1 volume, and NAS2 pool 1. So now that has added the UGREEN NAS into Home Assistant. So what we need to do to view the details and statistics is click on Overview, then select the Devices button under the areas here, and you'll see that our NAS2 has now appeared. So we've got NAS type, owner, model, CPU, cores for the CPU, disk read and writes, and so on. So there's a whole lot of statistics there which you might find very useful. And also it's added the storage pool, so it gives you the name of the storage pool, the size. Then if we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see we get NAS pool 1 and NAS2 pool 1 here. So we've got disk 1 and volume 1. So here it's giving you a lot more information as well about the disks and temperature and so on. So that's how you add the UGREEN NAS integration into Home Assistant. So hope you found this video useful. One thing to note, if you are running Home Assistant on the same NAS that you want the statistics for, you will need to change the network settings, which I did not explain in part 1, where I instructed you how to set up Home Assistant on the UGREEN NAS as a virtual machine. Now, if you encounter errors when you're trying to add the device, what you will need to do is follow along with this next part. If it's already working, then that's fine, you can finish and it's all done. But if it didn't work and it provided an error message when you typed in the IP address of the NAS and the username and connection details, then what you will need to do is you'll need to go to Settings, System, then in the top right corner you'll need to shut down Home Assistant temporarily. So with the pop-up window, restart Home Assistant, go to Advanced, and then select Shut Down System, and then shut down with the button. Then what you'll need to do once you've shut down Home Assistant is log into the UGREEN NAS that Home Assistant is actually running on. And then once you've logged in to your UGREEN NAS that you're also using to run Home Assistant, you will need to go to the control panel, select Network. Then at the top you need to select Network Connection. Then what you need to do is select Network Bridging, and then select Virtual Bridging option from the drop down menu. Then what you need to do is for the Virtual Networking Bridging box, you need to tick that, and then also select the network connection that you're using and that you connect to your UGREEN NAS with for Home Assistant. So in this case I'm using LAN 2. So if you're using LAN 1, then select LAN 1. or if you're using LAN 2, then select 2. And then once you've selected the network and put the tick in the box, click apply, and then it will say, do you want to create virtual bridging? So select continue, and you'll now see we get next to the LAN connection, we get VBR LAN 1, which is connected, and we get LAN 1 not connected. So you can ignore that because I'm only using one network connection on the UGREEN NAS. But if you're using 2, then you should see 2 connected. But for the one you selected with the network bridge, you should see VBR against it. So once you've done that, you can then close the network control panel window. And then what you need to do is open up Virtual Machine. And then with Virtual Machine Manager open, you need to select Manage and then select Network. Once the network management box has popped up, you'll see we've got VNet Bridge 0 and VNet Bridge 1. Now, whichever one is connected, so you want to select the one with the NIC and dash against it. So do not select the one that says, for example, LAN 1. If it's got LAN and then a number against it, you need to select the other VNet bridge. So in this case, it's VNet Bridge 1. So with VNet Bridge 1, you need to change the mode to Bridge Mode Linux Bridge. Then with the switch mode pop-up, click Done. So you'll see Bridge Mode and then -L against the network connection that you're using for Home Assistant and your virtual machines. So once you've changed that, you can then close the network management window. Then against the virtual machine that's running Home Assistant, you need to select the 3 dots, select Settings, scroll down, and then for the network option, you should have E1000. And then for VNet Bridge, you should select the one, so the VNet Bridge that has an IP address against it. So if you've got 2, then select the one for the connection that you want to use for your virtual machines. And in this case, you'll see I've only got VNet Bridge 1 with an IP address against it. So you need to tick that box. So select it, click apply, and then you can restart Home Assistant. So once you've restarted Home Assistant, you can then log out of your UGREEN NAS. And then once you've started Home Assistant, you will then be able to proceed and add the UGREEN NAS into Home Assistant using the instructions which I explained at the start of this video. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll be back again soon with more videos. Bye for now.